You are to be filled with delight, the Father says to you today. My dominion does not merely produce joy, rather, there is joy in my reign. For the purpose of bestowing onto you an indescribable and glorious bliss, I came to you. I will bring you the joy that no one else can bring, and regardless of what is going on around you, you will enter into a state of continuous joyous fullness. Joy, on the other hand, is a fruit of the Spirit, whereas happiness is a result of the events that are occurring around you. My joy will break forth on your limbs and out of your heart until you are filled to the brim with light and laughter in full measure. All you need to do is reach out your arms like the tree of righteousness that you are. It is imperative that you never give anybody or anything the power to steal your joy, because when you do so, you are giving them the opportunity to take my kingdom away from your life. Keep the delight you feel. Hold on to the delight you feel. You are to rejoice and celebrate for all eternity, says your God. Now is the time to make happiness your top priority. Make happiness your ultimate objective in life. The happiness that comes from possessions is fleeting and rarely lasts, but the delight that I bring is unending and unchanging, regardless of the highs and lows that your circumstances may bring. When other people try to bring you down, you should make the decision to wash their feet at that same moment. Never allow yourself to become so consumed by your own unhappiness that you exclude yourself from those acts of unselfish service that are performed in humility. Those who would be the most successful should be the ones who serve others. When you wash the feet of the saints, you enter a level of advancement that is beyond the comprehension of the majority of individuals. Today, you should go out and be a pleasure bomb. You should be a joyous ambassador. Your pursuit of joy is a manifestation of your pursuit of my kingdom, and when you pursue my kingdom, everything else will fall into place. Currently, the Father is saying, I am a part of your praises. I take up residence in your praise, and I actively participate in your personal worship in ways that have a profound impact on your life in ways that are both useful and positive. The adversary makes an effort to use music and song as a means of enslaving and encouraging idolatry among the people. In order to encircle you with the all-consuming fire that I am, I use your song and your jubilant acclaim as an empowered weapon. I want to destroy every technique that hell has against you. The Father encourages us to open ourselves up to thankfulness in all of its expressions. Being grateful allows you to open the doors that have been closed against you and breaks away the bars of iron and brass that are stopping your vision from becoming a reality. The rebounding joy and happiness that unites you with me in ways that release my power on your behalf should never be stifled by your opinions or the way things appear in the natural universe. You have the ability to choose to trust the positive news even when you are surrounded by discouragement and negativity. You will be able to break out of a state of depression and launch yourself into a manifestation of my promise that is, as in heaven so on earth, if you allow yourself to slip into the gap between your natural thoughts and adopt my mind as the goal-driven impetus. Let your praise be uttered with unwavering determination, knowing that you will be blessed with everything that Calvary has to offer in terms of faith. Give up your connection to what things might appear to be, for the things that are visible are subject to change by the parts of my kingdom that are not visible to the naked eye. God states that although there are questions and details, understanding the details will not alter anything in your life. However, The praise that you pay forth in faith will paint your life with the pigments of my plan. On this day, the Father declares, I am with you in the times of crisis. Sometimes, without even realizing it, you find yourself in the middle of an issue that you could have easily avoided in the first place. Have you ever thought about Peter when he drowned in the water? The only thing that comes to mind when people think about that narrative is Peter walking on water. When I think back on it, I recall reaching down into the brine and wrapping my arms around him. I will never forget the aroma of fish and the anxiety that was all over his body, as well as his frantic cries of, Master, I perish. At that very moment, I felt more proud of him than I ever had before. As a result of everything that happened, Peter realized that he needed to structure his queries in a more careful manner. After he had vaulted over the rail and walked on water, he initially asked me a question to which there was only one answer, Master, if it's you, bid me come. Since it was me after all, I bid him come to me, even though I knew he would immediately find himself in a dilemma that was not necessary. For the purpose of your sake, I grieve the missteps of presumption, but for my sake, I cannot wait to come to your rescue. There have been times when you have been so eager to accomplish something in my kingdom that you have said to yourself, Lord, I'm going to do something even if I do it wrong. Therefore, do not hesitate to inquire, says the Father. You are unable to let me down, and I will not become angry with you. There will be moments when the full extent of my grace in your life will be applied to you in order to make you successful in spite of a significant error. This causes the religious population to feel a great deal of frustration whenever they see me doing it. According to the Father, I will continue to love you regardless, and there is nothing that they can do to change this fact. Today, the Father explains that the financial coastline of your life is determined by the dimension of your vision. In what aspects of my kingdom are you putting your efforts? In order to realize your deepest heart's desire and unattainable goals, it is time to let go of those aspirations that are feeble, insufficient, and just possible. Instead, you should focus your expectations, your faith, and the sacrifice of everything that you are on achieving those ambitions. What are you eagerly anticipating? In the realm of time-bound activities, waiting is characterized by limitations, depletion, and emptiness. In no way do you fall short. I believe that you have reached your limit. Because you have the whole of the Godhead inside you, you are able to walk on earth as a God-man or a God-woman, created in my image, and you are able to realize the full benefits package that Calvary made possible more than 2,000 years ago. The wait is finally over. At this point, the time has come for appropriation and completeness. There is no one or anything that originated in my domain that can prevent you from achieving your goals, says God. I will not withhold anything from you, and I will not be angry with you. Those who argue otherwise are constrained by the fact that your personality and character come from a human perspective. I am aware of your shortcomings. My nature and holiness are in direct opposition to the things that you struggle with, and I am aware of those things. I am much more powerful than all of that. As a result of the cross, I am completely capable of bringing the old nature that resides within you to its eternal termination. Do this with me as your guide. To achieve what I am bringing about, you must cooperate. I ask that you acknowledge the authority I have established in your life and accept accountability for your actions. Once upon a time, you decided to go your separate way and pursue your own interests. Now is the time to move on. I want you to be my accountable son or daughter, and I am calling you to that. Afterwards, you will be able to ride in the highest spots on earth with great success. After that, the wealth of the nations will enter your gates, and it will totally support the total vision that you have cried out to me about for such a long time. The Father says today, exercise your trust for my limitlessness in your life. This is not a time constraint for you. Considering that I have time, you also have time. In this case, distance is not a constraint. Have you given any thought to the possibility of translation functioning as a mode? Because I am your healer, you are not restricted in terms of your health. I am Jehovah Jireh, your supplier, and you do not have any restrictions on the resources that you have. Being that it is your Father within you who is doing the work, you are not restricted in the strength that you possess. That you would have life and life in greater abundance, I came to earth in the guise of a human being. There is no end to the abundance that I provide. Just as I am, you are also a part of the earth. Is there a limit to my power in the air? Oh, no, I am not. To put it another way, you are not restricted to the earth. To empower you to accomplish things that you previously believed you were incapable of doing, my Spirit is pouring out upon you today. The Father replies that your conception of what is impossible is in fact my starting point, and that things will only grow better from there. God advises you to focus your attention on more lofty goals. I have fashioned your feet like hinds' feet so that you may climb mountains and overcome challenges that other people simply whine about. I have made your feet like hinds' feet. It is time for the eagle that you are to break free from the confines of the religion of the barnyard and make apparent through faith exactly what it is that I have called and destined you to do. No ifs, ands, or buts are to be taken into consideration at this time. What appears to be an impenetrable barrier is actually nothing more than the waves of turbulence that you will encounter as you make your way out to me. It is you who has inquired, Lord, is it you? I want you to believe, once and for all, with absolute certainty that anything is indeed possible. I want you to embrace this challenge. Make this day your choice not just to comprehend this, but also to have faith that you will receive at the very moment that you pray. Prayers that are not accompanied by faith are nothing more than words that construct nothing but disappointment. Pray for me. Be obedient. Step outside. I am with you both to will and to do my good pleasure, and my good pleasure is the prosperity of my saints. Therefore, be bold and brazen, for I am doing both of these things with you. This day, the Father instructs us to concentrate on the result and to identify ourselves with me in the process. Be aware of this, says the Father. The activities that take place in your life are under my control. It is time to stop praying about the process and begin praying for the outcome. What I do to get things done is entirely up to me. Have faith that I will make everything work out for your benefit, regardless of whether or not you can see it occurring. There will be a dissipation of the storm clouds, a cessation of the winds and waves, and you will arrive at the fulfillment of your biggest heart's desire and your greatest dreams. The majority of the time, your prayers are rendered fruitless because they are a reflection of how you believe I will act in a certain situation, rather than just trusting me to determine the outcome. Let me handle the particulars, declares the Supreme Being. It was completely unknown to Moses how I was going to transport him across the Red Sea. Elijah was taken aback by the manner in which I presented him on multiple occasions. In the midst of your suffering, I am working in precisely that manner. I am the God who gives salvation to a large number of people or a small number of people. It makes no difference if there is no one rooting for you. Due to the fact that Gideon only had 300 warriors under his command, he was completely unaware of the strategy that I would use to vanquish the Midianites. When all they needed to do was leave the details to me, it would have been a waste of time for them to lie awake conspiring to ask me to do this and that. All they needed to do was forget about it. Put an end to prayer about how you believe I will manage the things that are happening in your life. The Israelites perished in the wilderness because they were unable to take their eyes off the process and allowed me to handle the specifics of the situation. Instead, choose to pray for the outcome, and you will find that your serenity is increased, and you will be able to take pleasure in the journey rather than being tormented by unwarranted anxiety and concern. It is the Father who says, I have this. Relax and take pleasure in the journey. It is not a good thing to be alone, as the Father has stated today, so you will not be allowed to be alone. You are aware of what it is like to be out in the crowd by yourself and isolated. You have had situations in which you were surrounded by people who wished you well, but you felt absolutely abandoned. Even throughout those times, I have said in your soul, I will never leave you. I will never forsake you. However, even during those moments, there was a need to see someone in the eye and know that they were standing with you no matter what. My children have given in to this particular bombardment of hell more than they have to any other similar assault. The adversary is aware that you are unstoppable when you are joined together on earth with a single heart and soul. I want you to know that I am moving and delivering assistance to you. I am putting people in a solitary position inside the family, and your group is right around the corner. The Father assures you that you will not be by yourself. I will place those individuals in your immediate vicinity who will come to an agreement with you over your vision, as well as the desires and the pain that you feel in your heart. As the Father says, they will be to you as David and Jonathan were to him, and I will pour in the oil of selflessness that will secure that bond when the cost becomes tremendous. They are already on their way to you at this very moment. Despite the fact that they have been a part of your life, there is one person who has been ignored since no one takes them seriously. In the event that everyone else has fled, it is precisely that individual who is going to be your trusting companion. At this same moment, as I am speaking to you, I am also speaking to these friends of the kingdom. You are aware of what I am expressing to them, right? It is not a nice thing to be alone oneself. I am your hope, which is what the Father says today. When the sun refuses to shine and all you can see is the amassing of storm clouds, you should ground yourself in the promise that I have made. Take care of yourself and take solace in the knowledge that I will never abandon you or leave you behind. I will never abandon you. Your trust and your deliverance are based on the fact that I am unable to change who I am, regardless of what the circumstances may suggest. I am your tranquility. It is I who provides for you. Every morning, I am the water that flows from the rock, and I am the manna that is on the ground. The people who propagate religious thought believe that I am the one who brought about the hardship. However, I am not the God of difficulty. Rather, I am the God who makes the yoke simple and has the weight light. If I were the God who brought about the difficulties and struggle that you are experiencing in your life, then stress would be a fruit of the Spirit, but that actually is not the case. All of this vulgar and shallow thinking should be rejected, because I am a Father who says, yes, and amen. I promise that I will never subject you to something that the cross has already paid for. When it comes to the beloved, I will never say, no, to what the cross says, yes, to. The cross indicates that healing and provision are both acceptable. Instead of saying no to the struggle and the curse, the cross speaks positively to blessings and favors. That is the place where you will find peace on the Sabbath, where all conflict will end, and where you will lay down by the calm stream and in the green pastures of my faithfulness. Know that I am guiding you through all that is going on around you, and that when you come out on the other side, you will be unharmed and walking in my blessing. This is true regardless of what is going on around you. Because I do not place a high value on suffering, grief, or despair, my heart and my wish for you are that you succeed and that you be in good health. Stay steadfast in that truth. Accept and embrace that hope. Lean on my fidelity and take refuge in the crevice of the rock that is my love until the storm has passed and the day star that I am in your life shines with all of its might. According to the Father, this is the day when you will gain forward momentum. Acceleration is on the horizon, and obstacles are dissolving into nothingness as they disappear. In the future, your advancement will no longer be characterized by taking one stride forward and 2 steps back. Because you took the decision to return to the stronghold of my lordship and superintendence over your life, you are receiving double the amount of blessings and double the amount of measures that are being poured into your circumstance. Recoveries are being made for losses. Putting money in a bag that has holes in it is no longer an option, because I am coming alongside and underneath you to direct and raise you to a new spiritual theater of action. The flesh is the only thing that can produce flesh, and it will always produce corruption. Give your heart the intention to plant the seeds of your spirit in the Spirit, and you will not only be rewarded with heaven, but also with an unending supply and unstoppable onward motion. The Father encourages us to greet each new day with an attitude of thankfulness and generosity of spirit. Having nothing to complain about is not possible. Complaining can lead to a downward spiral of disappointment and dissatisfaction. On account of the fact that you have made the decision to not abandon your own mercy, it is not your portion. Make a conscious decision not to be critical or to take the position of the scornful. The act of finding fault with other people and being critical of them will consume your blessings like an acid. Take a walk around the day and see the people around you through the prism of the buying price of Calvary. Then, the distance that between your need and your solution will be reduced, and my glory will blaze forth like an electric current, bringing about a breakthrough that is explosive for you at a time when everyone else is wondering who the next person is to blame. The Father adds that this is the faith that is based on love, and this is the grace that is given to you today in full measure to overcome any obstacle that may come your way. Today, the Father asks, which would you prefer to have immediately, or would you rather have it always? In the same way that a bail bondsman would rely on my name to save them from the repercussions of situations they had gotten themselves into, my children seek my assistance. Know this, there is a place in me that is a supply of resource, guidance, and blessing that is constant and long-lasting. If I were to take control of your life, would you be willing to lay it down in my hands? When this occurs, the heavenly substance transforms into the glory of the earth. It is not the case that genuine testimony and walking with me are founded on the doctrine of fire insurance. When it comes to the mass of people who simply follow for loaves and fishes, it is time to distinguish yourself from them. In heaven, there are no pacifiers or diaper pails, and the disciple is always higher on the priority list than the follower. You should make this day your choice to improve both your thoughts and your level of maturity. My name is El Shaddai, and I am the God who always provides more than enough. You will feel the shadow of my wings above, around, and in front of you as you move forward in life. This will happen when you give up your opinions and go your own route in life. It makes no difference if 10,000 rains fall on your left hand or 1,000 rains on your right hand. You have my support. Continue to obey. Carry on with your pursuit of the kingdom, and without a doubt, everything will be added. Make sure that you are not so preoccupied with your issue that you fail to recognize your need. The one thing that ought to be at the forefront of your mind is to sit at my feet and learn what it is that I would teach you. You have expressed your want for more of me, and you have done it in a very articulate manner. The only place where you will find it is in the area of mute witness, where my presence is all that is present, and where your heart is lost in me. You will not find it in a pulpit or in a paperback. This day, the Father instructs us to gain the ability to walk alongside me through the dry seasons. When it comes to the things of the Spirit, Zion is the highest spot, and it is also the location of the government. In addition to this, it is a location that has been ravaged by the sun and ravaged by the passage of time. Emotional experiences, visions, and epiphanies are wonderful when they come to characterize what I am doing in your life, yet, they are not the sole way by which I work. When you are not floating on air or flying high on some spiritual current of my kingdom, make sure to give your full attention to listening. What is the most recent thing that I instructed you to do? Go back to the previous location, the most recent assignment, and the circumstance that you are aware of and that you could bet your life on. I was involved in all of these things. To that end, be faithful. Be sure not to stray off on a tangent. Be careful not to let yourself be deceived into looking for anything external or dependent on the outside. Inside of you is where you will find my kingdom. Individuals often say things like "lo, here" or "lo, there." It is not a good idea to go for those things or those individuals. Focus your attention on my still, little voice, and keep your composure as you carry out the straightforward task of obedience. The shift is going to occur. During that very instant, the rivulets of refreshing that flow from the river of my spirit will make their way to you in order to quench the parched condition that your soul is experiencing. God assures you that the adversary will never take you as a prey. Several people have made suggestions to you, and they have insisted that they know the appropriate thing to pray or to speak over you in order to bring about change. You have applied yourself to these suggestions. You attempted to persuade yourself to move forward with it, but the reality is that not much has changed. Despite this, it does not imply that they were dishonest or lacked any decent intentions. To put it another way, it indicates that I am a jealous God who will never permit the body to claim my glory for themselves. Maintain your faith. I will come to you as the teacher to fill in the blanks and show you the route that leads to life if you continue to do what you already know. My heart's desire is to bring you to me and to provide you with protection under my wings. Take it easy. Put your feet up. Please pay attention to the words that my voice utters on the breezes of my understanding. I am not going to abandon you from where you are. Your life will not be a patchwork of contradictions to my word, and I will not allow that to happen. It is a moment to mature and to move on with one's life, and by doing so, all of the junk and the aggravation of the current suffering will be left behind. According to the Father, this is the time for you to receive blessings, and this is the season in which I will bestow my favor upon your spirit, soul, and body. You are a kid of my right hand, you are called to be, therefore accept it, rise up straight on your feet, and follow my instructions. As the Father has spoken to you today, this is the time for you to flourish rather than merely survive. Although the adversary intends to restrict you to a coping technique of barely making ends meet, I do not intend for that to be the case. The reason I came was so that you could have life and that in greater abundance. Establish the concept of abundance as your primary expectation, and from that point on, own the knowledge that I will go above and beyond your deepest, most heartfelt desires. You have put your faith in me to deliver what you require. Now go beyond that and believe that I will amaze you with my goodness and flood you with my favor. I will do this for you. Those recollections of unhappiness and the events that have brought you misery will just serve as a final note to my greater faithfulness in your life. Your testimony is going to be forthcoming, and it will not be a story of tragic loss or a story of morbid pain. I am the God of more than enough, and I am exhibiting my glory in you, around you, and through you in such a way that will undeniably designate you as an entitled one walking in the full provisions of the shed blood of Calvary. I am doing this, and I am doing it out of the repositories of heavenly substance. We are told by the Father that your faith is more than sufficient. You are receiving from your faith the same benefits that I would provide for you if I were standing directly in front of you. Your faith serves as the means by which your petitions are presented to me on the altar that is situated in front of my throne. In response to your prayers, the manifest substance of my glory will appear in your circumstances to fulfill each and every one of your requirements. Your prayers are heard and answered. My response is yes, and it is not required to try to convince me to agree with something that I have already stated yes and amen to. My default attitude toward you is one of affirmation, and you can go forth with the expectation that I will support you in every circumstance and that I will endorse your efforts with the full weight of heaven's supply. Today is not the time to think small or to make plans that are not ambitious. Due to the fact that I am here within you, you will triumph and achieve success. You are not a failure because I am not a failure. You will be successful through your trust and your patience. Put your hopes and dreams in the bank of heaven, and then use your faith to withdraw the unwavering guarantee that I have made in my word. There is no way that you will be let down. From this day forward, the Father declares, I pour out upon you my great love in full measure. Even if there are a lot of people who claim that they are more loyal than a brother, time and chance will eventually catch up with them all. Take your focus away from man and instead fix it on the fact that I have demonstrated my loyalty to you in every situation. If a guy were to give up his life for his friend, this would be the highest form of love that could ever exist. I sacrificed my life for you 2,000 years ago, and I have done the same thing for you now in the same way for your benefit. I decided to take control of my life, and in doing so, I elevated you to a position that is elevated above all principalities and powers. I was able to capture those who were held captive and bring about freedom that no one or any circumstance could ever take away from them. As soon as I emerged from the grave and took up my life, your soul, and your consciousness were already connected to my existence by the divine sovereignty that I possessed. No man, no demon, nor any outside force governs your life, says the Father. Me is the owner of you. Recognize and accept the declarations of my love and my unwavering commitment to you in every aspect of your life. When the moment is right, I will make my claim on your life, and then you will be able to walk away and be liberated from the illegitimate power that has ridiculously assumed its control over your affairs. Even though they have claimed to be gods, they will perish just like men. Despite all of this, my word will endure for all eternity, ensuring that you are protected and that you are held quickly. According to the Father, I will sweep the pretenders aside like the leaves that were left behind yesterday. You must put your faith in me. If you are looking for my deliverance in your life, look to the morning. The laughter of faith should be on your lips and in your mouth at all times. When they touched the apple of my eye, they did not know who they had angered, because I am your defense and the God who fights before you and behind you until there is no one left standing to oppose what I have promised you. Today, the Father instructs us to continue to align ourselves with the vision that I have given to you. Put away the crutch of relying on external sources, because doing so is an act of idolatry. Put yourself to the test by taking a leap of faith without the need for a safety net that will only prevent you from knowing what the future has in store for you. Refuse to surrender your ability to think for yourself to other people. Whoever is forced to bear the consequences of compliance is the best way to evaluate the value of the advice that is provided by other people. Keep an open mind. Maintain a corrective attitude. When other people offer their perspectives on your life, have an open mind and show respect. The next step is to travel to the hidden location and evaluate what is being spoken by the plumb line of my word and the personality of who I am on the inside of you. In order for you to be a carrier of my glory, I have raised you. My life substance resides within you, and it is this substance that is responsible for creating the image of my fulfilled promise not just in your heart, but also throughout your life from one area to the next. As a result of intimacy, disrespectful and disdainful attitudes are frequently bred. Understand the difference between the mind of the spirit and the mind of the flesh, and then act in accordance with that recognition.